What's going on, Stim Junkies? Hi, Stim Ace here. Welcome to the epic interview. And today I'm being joined by my good friend. We've gotten really close over the past year, and this guy needs no introduction. He is the current owner of Apollon Gym. He is the founder of Apollon Nutrition, one of my favorite companies on the planet. You guys know how many reviews I've done for Apollon Nutrition. The man, the myth, the legend, always outspoken, my good friend Robik Samborsky. Robik, how you doing today, my friend?
Good, Isaac. How you doing? Thank you.
I'm doing great, and thank you for coming on the show, man. It's been
Of course.
absolutely incredible having you on here, and it really means a lot that you're here. So we have a lot to talk about. Apollon
Sure.
Nutrition never takes days off. I know you're always grinding, you're always busy. Honestly, I can't even keep up with all the drops. Every time I do a review, there's already another drop coming. I can't keep up with it. It's crazy, but that's a good sign. It means business is booming, and we're always all about that. So I want to start with you because everybody knows that I never shut the hell up. I just keep on rambling and rambling. But this interview is all about you, all about Apollon Nutrition. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Robik. Growing up, being a kid, what got you into fitness? What got you into this entire lifestyle of health and fitness? Clearly, you're in very good shape. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Uh, I mean, I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Born in Ukraine, former Soviet Union. Um, Lived there until I was about 13, I think. Then moved to Israel. Lived in Israel for about 4 years. Emigrated to South Africa for about 5 years, and then I came to the United States at the age of 22, which was 1997, which makes me 50 years old.
God bless. That's crazy. So you've literally been all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in four different countries, and of course, that helps a lot in terms of, learning different cultures. And I feel blessed that, considering that I experienced so many different cultures and so many different experiences, people, religions, etc. That's really helpful to understand people, and at the same time, it's quite fascinating still, and I'm very proud of it. In terms of what got me into fitness, to be honest with you, I mean, what got into fitness, most of the fat kids, I wanted to lose weight. I was a fat kid. I was very overweight, obese, and, first crush, the girl turned me down because I was overweight. And that kind of sent me straight to the gym. And I wouldn't say that I'm very athletic, but then I wouldn't say that I'm genetically very gifted either. So in Israel, I played basketball, even though I'm only 5'8". But basketball is huge in Israel, so I played that. I played soccer, always enjoyed that. Did some martial arts. Well, actually, not so much martial arts. I mostly did boxing when I was a teenager, and then obviously worked out. I would say that working out kind of came to me mostly when I lived in South Africa. I would say around the age of 19, 20. That's when I started lifting weights and kind of got into it, became a huge fan of bodybuilding. These days a little bit of less of a fan of bodybuilding. um, I think just a different era. I don't connect with it as I used to in the 90s and 2000s. And then that's it. Pretty much stayed. I don't have the best genetics. A lot of people in my family have diabetes and heart conditions, and my mom passed away relatively young. Also, she wasn't the healthiest person. So, as a result, I always try to work out. I try to stay in shape as much as I can, even considering my schedule. The last couple of years is pretty rough. Um, Started doing martial arts as Muay Thai pretty late in my 30s. Competed, did fairly good, retired, and that's pretty much it.
Wow, so you just crammed in a whole bunch of information. First of all, I never even knew you were in South Africa before. Obviously, I knew you lived in Israel. I know you're from Ukraine. I have family from Poland, so we have a little bit of that Slavic connection there as well. I also do have a lot of family in Israel, so, a little bit in the Middle East, a little bit in Europe. So we do kind of have a very similar background in that regard, which is maybe one of the reasons we always got along so well. But it's just crazy to think that you were in Israel playing soccer and basketball. I didn't know basketball was big over there. I thought they were all about
It's
soccer.
huge. They team. I mean, other than NBA, of course, in the United States on the European circuit, I think the team Maccabi Tel Aviv is actually one of the best teams in Europe.
Wow. Yeah, so I don't really know much about sports. I don't really follow. I used to watch back in the day. I was very into basketball when I was in elementary school. Late '90s, early 2000s, NBA on NBC era. I was all about that. I still remember that iconic music. So that was kind of the era that I was into it. But then I just fell out of sports. And you mentioned that you were a fat kid growing up.
Oh
I
yeah.
was I was a morbidly obese kid for most of my life. I got close to 400 pounds, and literally around high school time is when I personally stopped watching basketball. I used to also play basketball because I'm 6'4", so I always had to play center. The coach always made me play center, even though I had a really good shot from far. But then I got into video games, I got into the junk food, and it just kind of rolled around. And before I knew it, I was 396 pounds. So for me, the wake up moment was at 28 years old. For you, you're saying you got into fitness at like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, around that time, yeah. Maybe 15, 16, but like hardcore, I would say 19.
So you see, I'm like, in a way, I'm jealous because even I see these teenagers in my gym, say what you will about them. They come in with the socks and the flip flops, the broccoli haircuts, what have you, but they're there 17, 18 years old and they're already getting into the lifestyle, which I think is incredible. So I give them a
No, it
lot of
is. I
kudos.
mean, yeah, I agree with you. You've been to Apollon Gym. I would say about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because this is a hardcore gym, very old school gym. The average age group that we had here was, I would say, late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. But right now, there is a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers, a lot of young kids, and they really into it. I mean, of course, they're a little bit different from when I was growing up, with obviously the social media and phones and tripods and whatnot. But so that kind of can get on my nerves a little bit. But nevertheless, like you said, the fact that they are working out, the fact that they are coming to the gym, that's admirable to me.
100%. And like you mentioned about technology, it's kind of a double edged sword because, in a sense, there's more information now than ever before. Back in the day, you would have to read the bodybuilding encyclopedia from Arnold, which is as thick as all 5 volumes of the Bible, to get some information. But these days, you have people on YouTube giving you this information for free, which is, it's mind boggling to me. You have ChatGPT, which I recently started using just for research purposes. And I think that's pretty incredible. But it all depends how you use the technology. It could always be used for good, or then you can have something like TikTok and you have the kids coming in with the tripods and doing weird stuff in the gym and just getting in everybody's faces. So really, that's crazy. But you mentioned Apollon Gym. So let's start at Apollon Gym. How did you come to own Apollon Gym? How did that unfold?
Well, I first lived in Brooklyn, as you know, and then Marina got a pharmacy license in the state of New Jersey, actually New York and New Jersey, but her family lives in New Jersey, so she wanted to be a little bit closer to them. And I like peace and quiet, and Brooklyn is a little bit crazy for me, but at the same time, I like going back to Brooklyn, like you call it nostalgia, the restaurants and the vibe. But we moved to New Jersey, and I was still in a process of waiting for my green card, so technically I was what I call semi illegal in a country, so I was legally in the country, but I was illegal to work here. So it was like a whole process. And so I started working as a personal trainer at one of the gyms here well, close to Edison. It's Ford's, which is basically Edison. It was very close to my house, and it was ladies only gym, so it was only for females. It used to call Spa Lady. They no longer around. So I worked as a personal trainer for about a year, and I was making absolutely no money. I mean, I
Wow.
was the busiest trainer, the only male trainer, so it was like a paradise. But I worked so many hours, and I could barely make $2,000 a month.
Wow.
And then I left. We had like a little bit of a falling out, and I left the gym. And I found I joined. I went to work for another gym. Stayed there for about a day or so. Just didn't like the gym, didn't like the equipment, and found out that across the street there is this iconic gym called Apollon Gym. And apparently, like very, very old school, and Rich Gaspari trained there. So I was like, okay, let me go check it out. I came here and I literally fell in love with the gym. It was beautiful. So I remember I was completely broke. We had no money. Marina was still, I think she just graduated, and I was making nothing. So I, I approached the owner and I said, sell the gym to me. He laughed in my face and he says, what, are you out of your mind? I was like, I want this gym. So obviously he said no, and I didn't have any money to buy it. So I started working here as an independent contractor, as an independent trainer. I would pay a monthly fee, and I trained here a couple of women that I used to train at Spa Lady, and they came here with me. And little by little, I kind of got into NPC. I started judging shows, working with athletes, and it kind of just like went from there. It was just brick by brick. It was building up, and people started to know me, and I helped a couple of athletes turn professional. I had Marina was actually one of my, not actually one of, she was my first athlete. She decided to step on stage, and she took it pretty seriously.
I remember you posted
Yeah,
an Instagram post of her from back in the day, and she was jacked. I'm like, oh my god, this
yeah,
is crazy.
she did phenomenal. So that was like more walking advertising. And then, so I worked at Apollon Gym as a trainer for about maybe 2 years or 3 years. And then the owner made a few bad business calls, and he approached me and he said that he's willing to sell the gym. I couldn't afford it still, not even close. So I gave him a very small deposit that I borrowed money from everywhere I could. Emptied our credit cards. It was like a small deposit, and he agreed that we're going to pay him off over the next few years. And the gym was pretty much dying. It had only less than 200 members. The equipment was in pretty bad condition. All the upholstery was torn to pieces. It was bad, but like I said, I loved it. And obviously, I couldn't afford to have any employees, so it was me and my one of my best friends, Irina, who had a full time job, but she still came to help me out. So she worked for me for free, absolutely free, because I
Wow.
couldn't pay her. So she would just train clients here, and that's how she made extra money. But I couldn't afford her, so I was here from 5 a.m. in the morning until 11 p.m. myself. And little by little, it started, building up and got better and better, and that's pretty much it. And kind of went from there. That was in 2008, and by 2000, I think 10 or 11, this was already making a top 10 hardcore gym in the country, pretty much on everybody's list. And
Wow.
we started bringing a lot of athletes here to train because I kind of got to know them through NPC, through IFBB, through all the shows, and the gym was getting a lot of attention. And by 2009, no, yeah, something like, no, yeah, 2009, I was already not judging shows because I was just too busy with the gym. Then I started training Muay Thai myself, and I decided I wanted to compete again. So that kind of took all my time. And in 2015, we started Apollon Nutrition. So that sums it up.
That's wow, that's amazing because that was literally my next question was going to go into how did Apollon Nutrition come about. But just before we get into that, I think that's incredible because you're always talking. I mean, you post a lot of stories on Instagram and people know that you're brutally honest and you have no filter, which I appreciate because I'm kind of like that the same way. But you always talk about how important it is for you to have real, personal, genuine connections with people and trust. You use that word trust a lot. And I could tell because the way you're describing the story, you're coming from humble beginnings and you had to have people there that you can trust with essentially your entire heart, with your entire being to help you. I mean, you're saying that you had your friend there helping you and she did not get paid, which is, that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There was actually three uh, friends, women in my life besides Marina, who literally worked at Apollon Gym for free. And that would be Irina. I couldn't pay her for the first, I think, 8 months, if I'm not mistaken. Then I started paying her. The gym started to make money. It started to get stronger, better. Plus, she was doing personal training. In fact, she quit her other job, and she was still competing as an IFBB pro. So she was running the gym, and then I had my great friend Alina who worked at the gym across the street, and I remember I think we opened the gym. We bought the gym on January 16th, and on January 18th, Alina stopped by to get a shake here, and we kind of hit it off immediately. And she started like helping us, computerizing everything and bringing a little bit more of a modern world into Apollon. She's very smart. She's one of the closest people in my life, and she was running the gym with me basically because Irina didn't speak really English, so she could only help around the gym, but not so much with marketing and doing day-to-day operations. Alina worked for free. She never took a dime. She never took a salary. She literally worked at the gym for free. And then we had, Alina went to, she's also a pharmacist. So she started doing other things, but she's still, even today, she's helping us with the gym. She's helping us with nutrition. You'll see her at the seminar. Um, and then Carolina came here. She was living in Brooklyn, but her aunt lived not far from here. So we met in Brooklyn, but she came here to train when she visited her aunt, and she kind of happened that I had an injury where I tore my quad, and there was nobody at the gym to work. So Carolina kind of jumped in, and started helping us with doing day-to-day operations, and she stayed ever since, as you can see. So, I was blessed to get to have some good people on my side. But at the same time, when you say that, trust is a big thing for me, trust is a huge thing. Um, I've I'm 50, and I've been betrayed many times in my life by people that were supposed to be close to me, were supposed to be family, that were supposed to be best friends. But I was backstabbed quite a few times, and I was a little bit of a softie, where I overlooked those things and I trusted people too easy. But that's not the case these days. I'm a little bit more careful. I value who is around me. My circle of friends is very, very small, and I'm very cautious. And again, that comes not from being a chicken shit or being an idiot or any of that. It just happens it comes from experience. When you experience being backstabbed or fucked over, so to speak, many times, you kind of have a different perspective on life. And especially if that happens that you've been backstabbed or betrayed by people that supposed to love you and care about you and not supposed to do that, then you're hurting. I mean, you can probably hear it in my voice because it's breaking a little bit. Even I can hear it. When you get hurt, you have a different perspective. You become very defensive. So when people say that I'm overly aggressive, I know that sometimes I do come overly aggressive, but there is a reason for that. And at the same time, people that are my friends or people that know me, the real me, they will attest that I'm probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I'm down to earth. I'm pretty generous, I think, and I'm loyal because I expect the same loyalty from people around me. So I give the same in return. However, if the trust is broken, to regain it, I would say is impossible.
No, I completely understand that. Life really forces you to adapt, and especially if it's somebody from within your circle, your family, whether they're biologically related or not, but somebody that you consider family, and then they backstab you, it's hard to come back from that. It messes with you mentally, and it forces you to put up a shield to not get hurt next time. It's a natural defense mechanism, and I've been there myself. And I'm loyal to a fault. I'm a little bit naive as well. And, I'm 35 years old, so I have a little bit less life experience than you do, but I've been screwed over a bunch of times in my life as well. And at crucial moments where I really did not need to be screwed over at those moments. So I completely understand.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's only so much beating you can take before you kind of close yourself for outside the world. And that's the reason, like I said, I'm focusing on Apollon Gym, Apollon Nutrition, and my circle is very, very small. And I can't say that I'm happy or not happy about it, because usually people say, oh, my circle is small but I'm happy about it. It's not about happiness. It's just, I cherish those relationships and real people in my life today more than ever. I'm kind of holding on to that. But at the same time, if I was betrayed or I was backstabbed, I'm trying to prevent these days as much as I can for it not to happen. So that's the reason why I'm very, very cautious. But at the same time, if it does happen, that person, I don't like the term the person is dead to me, because that's a little bit extreme. But that person will never be able to get back to the same relationship that we once had. It's just impossible.
Completely understandable. And quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Subtalk Radio tuning in for the unscripted podcast. Much love to you guys. Guys, if you're watching this video right now, if you're enjoying this conversation with Robik, give us a big like over here. Subscribe to the channel. Heist and Mace is always doing these reviews for the Heist and pre-workouts, daily drivers, proteins, and obviously a crap ton of Apollon Nutrition products, which I can barely keep up with, like I said at the top of the show, because every time I get a review out, Robik already has something else that's being formulated. So speaking of Apollon Nutrition, let's talk about Apollon Nutrition. You said in 2014 Apollon was founded, correct? Apollon
15.
Nutrition? 2015. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
because the 10-year anniversary was in the
Mhm.
beginning of last year. Correct. So tell us a little bit about Apollon Nutrition. How did it start? All I know is that there were samples being given out in the gym, and then it kind of grew from there. And now looking back, you guys are in Mexico, you're in Kazakhstan, you're in Europe, literally worldwide domination. It's freaking insane to think about the humble beginnings. So lay it out. Tell me how Apollon Nutrition came to be and how it came to be the powerhouse that it is today.
Well, we sell just like most gyms do. We sell protein shakes at the gym. So we used to buy protein powder from two places from Europa, which was a big time distributor. I don't even know if they exist today or not. Um, so we would get protein from them, and then we would buy from Dave Palumbo from his brand Species Nutrition because that was very clean protein, and we were buying from him. But like with everything in life, prices started to climb pretty rapidly, kind of like it happens today. So it was very, very tough for us to operate, and it's not easy to keep increasing prices of protein shakes all the time. So we knew that there is an issue with that. And then I was introduced to Mark Glazer, the owner of NutriBio, and they manufacture their own products. They have very, very. That's actually one of my, if not my favorite brand, other than Apollon. And they have the full transparency, very clean products. They manufacture themselves, and they literally maybe 15, 20 minutes drive from here. So I got to meet Mark, and we kind of hit it off. He also comes from a martial arts background. We became very friendly, and he agreed to manufacture for me for the gym, only for the gym, protein that I need. And I think we also said creatine. And I told him that I want to try and formulate my own pre workout. So that's basically, we came up with four flavors of protein to sell at the gym. Literally, the investment was, I said it a few times before, the investment was about $20,000, which we believe that it's going to last us for a year, if not more. There was literally, I think, 30 units of most of flavors or something like that. Um, and then creatine was one of the products, and the third one was Hooligan. So I came up with Hooligan based on the movies Green Street Hooligans. And when I came with the formula to Mark, at that time it had 450 milligram of caffeine, which was pretty much unheard of at that point.
Yeah.
And Mark told me that I was crazy. I was like, I mean, it's for the gym. It's only for Apollon Gym, and it's only for our crowd. So they kind of like people that come here, they pretty hardcore. So I think they will appreciate something like that. So he agreed to do it, even though he was at first kind of resistant. Um, so we got Hooligan, we got protein, and we got creatine. So we were selling it only at the gym. There was no website, there was nothing, there were no retailers, absolutely nothing. It was just meant for the gym. And I think we operated like that for about maybe a year, but people from other gyms started stopping by because they heard that our protein shakes taste great, that we have this product called Hooligan, and they started recommending it to each other. So little by little we started ordering from Mark more. There was more and more and more, to a point then within a year and a half, Mark basically said to us, I can't even keep up. So we had to go to another manufacturer. Our relationship with Mark remained very good, of course, but we went to another manufacturer, and we started buying more volumes of the same stuff. And I think maybe 2 years or something into it, we already had a website. We were selling a little bit, so the numbers started to climb up. And then we got our first athlete. Pretty much, I think first athlete was Corey Anderson, who was at that time with the UFC, and he was an Ultimate Fighter. And he won the Ultimate Fighter. I met him at sushi place, and I said, I'm a fan. We got to talk. And, I gave him some products, and he loved it. And he told me, You sure I'm not going to fail the drug test? I was like, No, I said, You're safe. So we kind of like worked with him. Then we got another UFC fighter, then another bodybuilder. And it kind of just like, it went from there, where it was building little by little, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. In fact, I have to give credit to one person And we had our ups and downs in our relationship, but I have to give him credit. And his name is Lukas Rutkowski, from Poland, who messaged me one day, and he goes to me, he says, I've been following you, and you have pretty good products. And I think I sent him some products. I don't remember, but what I did not know is that he was friends with Shane from Stacked. And he goes to me, you need to talk to Shane. You need to get your products, to Stacked. He has to talk about them. So at that point, I said, I don't think we're big enough for that. I don't think we are nobody. And he still introduced me to Shane. Shane never heard of us, and he posted something about Apollon Nutrition. And then I think it was 2020. I think 2020 or 2020. Yeah, 2020, I think, where he said that we are a top 10 brand. He called us a top 10 brand or something like that. So I said to him, where you think we can win? He goes to me, of course you can win. I'm like, but we are nobodies. We are too small. Little by little, with help from Lucas and guidance from Shane, we started doing things, started fixing a few things. And by 2021, we won Brand of the Year. 2022, we won Brand of the Year again. And we've been nominated 4 times and won twice, which is remarkable. And I think from that point of 2021 that's when the brand really started taking off. And we spread our wings, and it started getting international recognition. More stores started picking us up. We expanded a little bit more. I still consider us a very small brand. I still think we are a small brand. We still operate out of Apollon Gym. Nothing has changed. It's just, I think, the brand's reputation is pretty solid, because whether you like us or you don't like us, one thing you cannot deny is the fact that the products are solid. They fully loaded. Nothing is left. There is no bullshit ingredient. You will not find it. um, you can criticize maybe the price a little bit, but considering what we are giving, I honestly don't think that we are expensive, because our products are absolutely loaded. Each product that you take, the innovation is there. The health line is expanding super fast. Marina has done a tremendous job, especially in the last year or two. So I think that everything is good. I mean, we still get criticism, but I think everybody's getting criticism. You can't be without it. If it's a constructive criticism, obviously I'll listen to it. I'll consider it. When it's just pure bullshit, or somebody's just hating on us for whatever reason, maybe because they work for another brand, maybe they don't like me or whatnot. I kind of developed a thicker skin now, where I learned to ignore it. And before the podcast, you and I talked about a certain platform that I said, I don't think anyone should go there, because it's just full of hate and there is no need for it. And when somebody sent me, like, a link to somebody saying something nasty about me or somebody from within my circle, I always say the same thing: please don't send me that nonsense, because I'm not interested. So I think it's childish. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you. As long as you do what's best for you, what's best for your brand, whatever, what's best for your loved ones, that's all that matters. And our products speak for themselves more than anything. you know
100%. And what I like specifically about Apollon Nutrition is that when I'm reading a label, whether it's a pre-workout, a protein, I know that whatever it says on the label is actually in there. There's two types of products. And obviously, being that I'm a pre-workout reviewer, I review all kinds of products. I review the fully dosed, scientific based labels, such as a lot of the stuff that you have, clinical dosages, maximum efficacy, all
You
those
reviewed a lot
ingredients.
of our proteins. You actually reviewed, I think, our proteins more than anyone.
I like your proteins more than anything else. That's probably, if people ask me about Apollon Nutrition, give us one product from Apollon you must have. I'm not even going to mention the pre-workouts. The protein comes first to me more than anything else. I showed you a picture a few weeks ago where I literally have like 5 seal tubs right over there of flavors that, I'm worried might be discontinued or whatever. Hopefully you don't, because blackberry cheesecake, you cannot discontinue that
It
ever.
stays.
That is my lifeblood. That salted peanut, Dubai chocolate, the isoblast cookies and cream. I mean, when I had that for the first time, I can't even describe how I felt. It's freaking incredible. Our buddy in the chat, Timothy, says he loves Dubai chocolate. Yeah, man. And the Mozart. I mean, the flavors are endless. And I love the fact that they're innovative. It's different than stuff you see everywhere else. Every place has peanut butter chocolate. Every place has, strawberry or whatever. But these flavors are super innovative. So to me, it's really, it's incredible. But circling back to Apollon Nutrition, what sets you apart from other brands? We already mentioned the labels. Obviously, you're very into disclosing everything and being fully transparent. But in terms of philosophy, when it comes to creating new products and whatnot, and being proud of the products that you have on the shelf currently, what's the mentality going into it? And what sets Apollon Nutrition apart from other competitors, whether it's mainstream or off label?
I think with anything in life, I've been also very vocal about the fact that there are quite a few brands that have been copying what we are doing or trying to copy. I don't think anyone kind of like succeeded of doing what we do, but I see like similarities with a few brands where they clearly try to do what we are doing. And at first, I mean, I'm still a little bit upset when it comes to it, but much less because, as Shane said to me, something they will always be imitations, but they not the OGs. They not the original. People will always stick with the original, and I guess it's flattering, of course, because obviously they paying attention. They trying to do something that we do, but I think the secret to Apollon's success is the originality. We do things our way. Even look who is working for Apollon Nutrition, who is leading, so to speak. Um, I didn't know anything about the supplement industry until, I mean, I knew about supplements, but not the industry until I started Apollon Nutrition. Carolina comes from a dancing background, nothing to do with, supplements. Marina is, pharmaceuticals, even though it's maybe slightly related, but it's still different. So is Alina. Um, all of us are coming from a different background, and well, I'm not even going to mention Masha because, well, your
We love
smile,
Masha. We love Masha.
your smile says it all. But the thing is that I think that the fact that we are original and we do things our way. We make products that we would take ourselves. All of us are taking our products. Maybe we're not taking all of our products because that would be a lie and completely unnecessary. But I take pretty much a lot of our products, and you know the biggest indication would be my daughter is taking our products since early age, and I'm obviously proud of that fact. There are a lot of guys that a lot of brand owners today, they say I formulate products that I will take myself, and then I look at the label and I'm like, there is no way if you're knowledgeable you would formulate this for yourself because this is like pure crap. And the thing is that people know that it's crap and nobody says anything, and that kind of upsets me because I think that like with 50/50 Formula X, we did it our way, but it's based on actual science. It's actual science, actual studies. So what we did was different. We did something that we did it in a unique way and beneficial way for, our over the top. It's $100 product. But the thing is when you combine all the ingredients that it has, it's like a $300 product. So does it sell like hotcakes? No, it doesn't, because it's very, very specialized. It's not for everybody, and I don't advise people to buy it. And, I know that athletes and people that are very, very serious and that use all those ingredients, then they will buy it. But our products are not for everyone. I personally don't use Assassin. I don't use Hooligan. I will use Hooligan on occasion, but my go-to is actually Apollon Gym Classic and Desperado. Those are my products. Lionheart is my favorite product, and I'm not afraid to say it. Just because um, I am on Hooligan doesn't mean that it's my product, and why would I lie? Um, but at the same time, there it has like a cult following. People love it. It's a legendary pre, and that's great. But we make products that are suited for everyone. If before we used to be called a hardcore company, I don't think we are hardcore. I think we are premium that has hardcore products. But how many hardcore products we have? Other than maybe Hooligan, which is also questionable, I think Assassin, which is coming out soon, is the only truly hardcore product within Apollon Nutrition. We have Anarchy Labs. Now that's hardcore, but that's a completely different line. It just happens to be that it's under our umbrella. That's it. So I think that if you take and you review a lot of products, if you take our product, whether it's protein or a pre-workout, probably without even knowing that it's a pollen, you'll be able to tell that it's a pollen because it has that unique approach to formulating and transparency that I don't think many companies do. NutriBio does, but NutriBio is still different. They still formulate different than we do. It's just that they have that level of transparency that I respect tremendously.
100%. And speaking of the products, I wanted to ask you, what is the philosophy when it comes to reformulating products? Because Apollon Nutrition, probably more than any other brand, reformulates regularly. I think like every 2 years, right? More or less, give or take. So I know we have Molotov V4 coming out, which I'm excited about because Molotov literally got my top fat burner of 2024 last year. I love that product. I use it regularly at half a dose. I stack it with daily drivers. I stack it with high stim pre workouts. I stack it with basement formulas. Like that's something that helped me lean out, and I truly, truly believe in it. And obviously, there's a lot of other products like that. But what is your philosophy when it comes to reformulating? Do you ever get to the point where you say, okay, this is perfect as is, and I don't have to reformulate it? It's just good to keep it as is, or do you just always try to find a way to outdo yourself?
Well, you know what? I think when it comes to like proteins, right? So we have pretty much 50-50 is 50-50. The only thing that changes is that we might add a flavor here and there. So, Enigma's been the same probably from day one, which is probably what, about 8 years. Healthline, for most part, it does get reformulated, but only in case that there is something better that comes out to the market that will make sense to give it to the consumer. I believe that I know it's going to sound a little bit maybe naive or philosophical, or maybe even like it's going to sound like bullshit, but I take tremendous pride in the fact that I truly, truly believe that we are the best. And I think our products speak for themselves. I don't want to know that, for example, what would be a good example? Chill pills, chill until tomorrow. What else? There is also multivitamin, which was reformulated, and God Glory. The reason why those four products were reformulated is because similar ingredients, or there were improvements to ingredients that came to the market that made sense to use and improve on a product. And I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't know that I knew that I can improve the products, but I didn't. When it comes to pre-workouts, look, every time pre-workouts are like pizza. You always want something with new toppings, new variety, new something. So it's a very evolving. Well, it's not really evolving because it's been the same shit pretty much for the past couple of years. But I really think that there is always room for improvement, and people want like a new label. They want a new formula, a slight upgrade. It's kind of like cars; they're getting upgraded every couple of years. So if it comes to pre-workout or it comes to a fat burner, I always think that there is a little bit of room to improve, or something like a nootropic. That can be modified. I remember when I was releasing Hooligan 7, I already had a formula for Hooligan 8, which I will
Wow.
release in 2026. So I try to do pre-workouts and fat burners every 2 years. Although, to be honest with you, once you see Molotov and Chaos, I'm I'm very skeptical I'll be able to top that in the next 2 years, and you will see why. But yeah, I think that there is always, if not innovation, then there is always room for improvement. And if you want to stay relevant and you want to stay in, fresh, and you want to show people that you actually care and you want to stay busy, then you're going to keep working. I think your best advertising when it comes to your brand are your products. Your products are
Hmm.
what's going to there is a popular brand which I'm not going to name because not that I respect the brand, I just one of people behind the brand. I respect him tremendously. I had a kid who bought a pre-workout from that company, and he came up to me. That was last year, and he also has a lot of respect for one of the owners. And he goes to me, "I used the pre-workout and I didn't like it." I was like, "Well, why did you buy it?" "Why, I bought it because of that guy." I was like, "And?" He says, "I'm not buying it anymore." I said, "But do you still like the guy?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." So my point is that whether it's because of an athlete or influencer or one of the owners, for whatever reason, you're going to buy the product without knowing the supplement facts, without understanding the formula. And let's be honest, a lot of time people do not understand formula because they don't want to get educate. They don't want to get educated. So, they care about flavors and whether it slaps. Well, a lot of products can slap, but is the product efficient? Is it effective? Does it do what you want it to do? So the good thing about pre-workouts is that once you try them, if they are not delivering what they, you know, promise to deliver, which is today every pre-workout is the best on the market, the consumer is not going to buy it again. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I can sell you any bullshit once. But for you to be a repeat buyer when it comes to protein, that's easy. But for you to be a repeat buyer when it comes to a pre workout or a fat burner, now that's tough. Like you just said, Molotov, I mean, you review shitload of products when it comes to fat burners, but yet Molotov is your favorite. So if I'm able to convince you that Molotov is favorite based on formula, which you understand clearly when you read the supplement facts, and based on effects that it promises to provide, then you're not going to switch to inferior product. You're going to stay with a product that actually delivers results and delivers what you expect from it. So that's the reason why I think that there is always room for improvement, and I try to do it every 2 to 3 years.
It also sounds like, in a way, you're kind of challenging yourself. You're saying,
Oh,
Robik, can you
100%.
outdo yourself? Can you do something better? Even though this is already up over here, can you do something to take it even to that next level? It sounds like you're challenging yourself in a way.
100%. I mean, I fought again last October, which was non-sanctioned boxing match. Um, but it was just something that I wanted to challenge myself about, some against somebody that I always wanted to fight, but it never materialized when I was fighting. So I'm happy I did it. However, I did retire from competition about 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And the reason why I retired was because I knew that was it. I knew, I felt it. I felt it. I trained very hard. I trained probably harder than I've ever trained. But how I fought, my reaction, my speed, m- everything in that fight, I won the fight. But following the fight, I said, you know what? I was lucky to win. I was lucky to land the punch that finished the fight. But I wasn't the better fighter on that day. You have to basically face the music, you have to face the truth and understand that you cannot be better. Sometimes there is always uh, there comes a point where you max out. I don't think that I maxed out when it comes to pre-workouts. I don't think I maxed out when it comes to fat burners. I I'm still like a little kid. I enjoy it. I enjoy challenging myself, and if I can grow and I can get better, then I'm going to continue. As long as I can do it, I'm going to continue. When I will see that there is no way I can be better, then I'm going to have to make a very hard decision of what's next. But I do have a very competitive personality, but my biggest competition is myself. I always try to get better, and no matter what I do. I know that this upcoming Apollon All Star Seminar is going to be the biggest one we've ever had. And 2 days ago, I asked my team, I said, how the fuck am I going to top this in 2026? Because I'm already thinking about it. That's on my 2025 is gone already in my mind. I'm already working on 2026. I need to top this. I can't just be satisfied with these results. I need to get better.
I'm excited to be going there. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And guys, whoever's watching this right now, at the end of the video, we are going to plug where to buy your tickets. If you're in the Edison, New Jersey area, you guys can come in, say hi, hang out over there. There's literally an all-star athlete panel there, and it's going to be incredible. So I can't wait to be there. But really quickly, I want to ask you, because we already know more or less, we already talked about what are some of the popular products. Obviously, Hooligan, Assassin, Formula X, everybody knows those are the big sellers. But tell me personally, Robik, what are some of the products you feel that Apollon Nutrition released that you feel like they're ahead of their time, but maybe they're not getting the appreciation they deserve at this very moment right now? I'm going to tell you two of my favorites, what I like, and they're both relatively new. They both came out in the past year. You have Some Like It Hot, which I think is brilliant. The first time I used it right before the sauna, I just smeared my midsection because, I got a big built upper body. I got strong tree trunk like legs, but my midsection's a little flabby. So I always put it all over everywhere, and you notice it. You literally feel it working. You feel it burning the fat. As cliche as that sounds, it literally feels amazing. And now it's come to the point where, and you're going to think I'm crazy, on High Stim Saturday, as I like to call it, I will take whatever pre-workout I take. I'm going to stack 2 Molotov capsules, which is half the dose, and I'm going to smear myself with the Some Like It Hot. And boy, it turns any daily driver into a thermogenic monster. So that is my number one. And then number two, even though it's relatively new, has to be the fiber, because this thing completely changed my life. I don't need to get into details. You guys know what fiber does. No need to go down that route. But I'm telling you, and I said it in my review, and I wasn't even saying it as a joke. I literally took the Metamucil and I threw that shit straight in the garbage. And I'm already on my third tub of the fiber right now, which is, it's incredible. So those are my two products that I would put there. But how about you?
You know what? Actually, I'm going to agree with you. Some Like It Hot initially was very, very slow in terms of sales because I guess it's not exactly what was expected from us. I mean, it's still a cream, it's not a supplement. But I think that once they tried it, especially it's becoming very popular with fighters who are trying to sweat out and they're trying to lose, extra subcutaneous water and fat and stuff like that and to make weight. But I think Carolina, who's using it like all the time, and I think she's been pretty much probably the biggest spokesperson for the products. So now it's doing. I wouldn't say it's a bestseller because that would be a lie, but it's definitely doing well, and it's definitely here to stay. With fiber, I'll agree with you. It had actually a very slow start. Still not our top seller, and I think that it's a little bit overlooked product because I mean, let's face it, you can take that product and compare it to any of the fiber products on the market, and not one comes close. So maybe we need to do a better job in terms of promoting it. But I'll agree with you. But one product that I will mention that you actually help popularize in a way is Sharp Coffee.
Yes. How did I
So
forget about Sharp Coffee?
Sharp Coffee came out. When it came out, it was dead. Nobody was buying it. I was like so pissed because it was such a good product and it wouldn't sell. So towards the end, what we decided to do was like we would, people would buy to spend $100 or $200 or whatever, and we just give it for free. We started giving it for free. All of a sudden, people started buying it. They were started buying it, and we sold out very, very quickly. And I was like, well, I don't want to bring it back because it was such a pain in the ass. Finally, we decided to bring it back. We actually improved the flavor, the taste. We improved the formula, and we were able to buy more in terms of inventory. I mean, we have a little bit more of a buying power now. So the cost was not through the roof as we expected it would be. So we were able to keep it, well priced. And now that it came out, it's a popular product, and I'm very very happy about that. But this was Sharp Coffee was probably one product that we could not sell. It was just not move. Um, Another one that is was not doing well for us. I think that because it's just not our market in a way, we didn't do very well with vegan protein. Even though our vegan protein tastes really good, but it didn't do spectacular. And I think that the future of it, unless we really promote the shit out of it, it's a great transparent formula. Tastes pretty good, especially for vegan, but it didn't do very well for us. But protein right now, I think protein and our health line are doing as good, maybe even better than Hooligan, which is remarkable because I never thought I'm going to say that. In fact, I went to Mexico last year, and one of the store owners, he was talking to me, and he says, "Oh, I love Apollon. I sell it at my store." And he was, I mean, he spoke very, very highly of the brand. And he goes to me, "Take a guess which two products are my top two sellers." I was like, "Well, definitely Hooligan." He goes to me, "Yes, what else?" I was like, "Enigma." I said, "I don't know, hydration." He goes to me, "No, your multivitamin." I'm like, "Really?" So when he said that, it's kind of like what you said about our protein, that you go to our protein before you go to Hooligan. And to me, that's the biggest compliment because that shows that the brand is, you know, one trick pony. It's actually a brand that, the different products are actually popular, and we kind of can find a market with anything.
So another product I forgot to mention, and thank you to my buddy Harry from I forgot the name of the channel he runs, but anyway, Harry from New York City, our good friend Harry, he says, great live stream. Also, my mom loves your greens. And that's another one that I forgot to mention. I'm already on my third tub, and I'm kind of bad when it comes to the greens because I forget to take them sometimes. I usually have my coffee in the morning, I have my protein shake, and then I'm kind of bloated afterwards, you know. So I'm like, I'll take the greens later at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I get to work and I forget to take it at work, you know. But on days that I do take it, you just feel healthier. I don't know. It sounds like such a cliche to say, but it feels good. You actually feel like it's an amazing product and it really does benefit. And it feels like good quality and it tastes really good too. Is that one a good seller, the greens?
Yes. So greens kind of took off for us immediately, which I always wanted to have a greens product, but I was very, very skeptical about it because I didn't think that it's going to sell. Thankfully, the taste is very good, especially for greens. That's definitely, I can put it against any greens on the market. That's one of the better tasting greens. And then when you look at the formula, now you have a kick-ass formula that is not 2 or 3 grams. I mean, this one is like what, 15, 16 grams per serving. It's absolutely loaded. It has amazing ingredients, and people taking it, they feel it. Kind of like they feel our fiber. They definitely feel greens. They, especially if somebody's on a low carb diet or something like that, or they don't like their salads and their greens like I don't like. That's a great product. And I we ordered the first batch was not a lot because we didn't want to take a risk, and we reordered it almost instantly. It started selling instantly, and I think ever since releasing it in the last year, we reordered it 4 or 5 times. In fact, just today I put another order for greens. So greens is definitely doing very well for us. That's a very pleasant surprise. Even the product is obviously phenomenal, but I didn't know. And Harry, thank you so much, and please tell your mom I said thank you.
Yeah, Harry's a big supporter of Apollon Nutrition. He always uses my discount code, which, by the way, is ACE15 on apollonnutrition.com. Cheap plug, but it will save you 15%. With that being said, Robik, tell me about the future. And this is going to be really the last question before we get into the Q&A. We got a bunch of questions here on the chat, and we had a couple of questions from Instagram. So we're going to go through that at the very end. We're saving everything. Don't worry, guys. I'm seeing all your questions. But the final question I have here for the interview, looking ahead, the future of Apollon Nutrition, where do you see the company going 5, 10 years down the line? I know you just got into Kazakhstan, which was huge, Mexico, Europe, and it just seems like you're really taking over the world. Is that the trajectory that you have envisioned for Apollon Nutrition going forward?
You know what? I feel like even though it's been 10 years, it's going to be 11 years in January now. I feel like our company started to really take off only around 5 or 6 years ago. So it's a young company. I still will continue saying it's a small company. It's evolving company, and I think we only started putting things together lately, where we do things a lot better than we used to do, and we have a good following. Like, hey, Chris, and like we have people that are very loyal to the brand. They appreciate what we do. So I think that we only getting started in a way. As for the future, honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, to say 5, 10 years from now, I mean, especially with everything going on in the world, without sounding like a party pooper here, but I don't know. I would like to continue evolving. I would like to continue growing. I think we are growing. I mean, every year is better than the previous year, including this year, which I know is not an easy year. The last 2 years. Or the world economy and everything with the wars and everything that is going on, it hasn't been easy. And I know some brands took a huge hit. I know a lot of retailers that took a huge hit, and yet, Palm keeps growing. I wouldn't say that we have meteoric rise, but we definitely keep growing step by step. So I would like us to be a bigger brand. I know we're never going to be a Cellucor. We're never going to be, Muscle Tech or one of those bigger brands, but to be honest with you, I don't want to. I'm happy, to be with my team, to operate from Apollon Gym. building it brick by brick and just kind of like slow and steady wins the race. Kind of have that approach and keep evolving, keep learning, keep researching, and keep getting better, and hopefully get more following. More people will, try our products, give us a shot, and I think that the products that we have are the best advertising. They are the best influencers. They're way better than I am. They better than you are. They better than any athlete. They speak for themselves. So if somebody can buy, especially a pre-workout, and buy it from us again, then we succeeded. So I hope that we're just going to continue growing and expanding, and brick by brick.
That's an amazing answer. It's honest, it's genuine, and it seems like it's just an adventure and you're on this journey, and wherever you end up, you end up. So I love it. But just one little side note, because you mentioned Muscle Tech and you mentioned Cellucor, and it got me thinking of high tech pharma because you're talking about these mainstream brands. Do you remember that post you made on April Fool's? It was last year or the year before that, that Apollon got sold to high tech pharma. Do you remember that post you made?
Yeah, it was funny.
I panicked for like a fraction of a second, but then I'm like, okay, it's April Fool's. Obviously, it's not the case, but I thought that was hilarious. All right, so we're gonna do some questions now. We have a couple of questions here in the chat, so we are gonna select a couple. We have Henry Burke here asking, "What happened to Mad World? Is it coming back?"
So that was always, if you remember, it was always intended to be as a limited release, but our limited release have a tendency of coming back because of such questions. So the problem is that we cannot keep those limited releases permanent, because obviously then we basically clash with our other products, and those limited release products are very expensive to manufacture because, I mean, as you can see, they're absolutely loaded. They have to have something unique about them. Um, they also kind of a marketing thing where we bring you more attention to the brand, the good and the bad. If somebody likes Mad World, there are people who absolutely fucking hated it because they said it's crazy and whatnot. So all I can say is it will come back. 100% it will come back. I was contemplating bringing it under Anarchy Labs towards the end of this year, but didn't want to go clash with Assassin. So I think that either I might still do it end of the year, or will do it probably the first quarter of 2026. But it definitely will come back. It's just I have to do a better job telling people, maybe, advertising, positioning it more as a limited release, kind of like I did very good with Time Cop, where I said, okay, it's here, then it's once it's gone, it's gone. It will come back, but later on. So Mad World will definitely come back. It's just not going to be permanent. And again, it's again one or two flavors. We'll release it, maybe the same formula because the last one was extremely popular, and that's it.
Sounds good. And you guys know, whoever's watching right now, if you visit the Heist and Mace Instagram page, you guys know I'm always revealing when these drops are happening. So if you guys aren't clued in about what's going on in the industry, give me a follow on Instagram at Heist and Mace, and I'm always posting drops and whatnot, because especially with Apollon Nutrition, a lot of these products are limited edition, made in smaller batches. And once they're gone, you might have to wait a year until they come back. So that's something you should be doing. But now let's talk about Assassin for a little bit, because you've been hyping it, you've been teasing it. Now, I know you're not going to be able to reveal the label, but is there anything else you're able to say about Assassin that maybe you haven't revealed thus far?
Yeah. So Assassin originally was an Anarchy Labs product, and when same thing, when we kind of like did the whole Anarchy last year, the intention was that we're going to bring Assassin as Anarchy Labs product. But after talking to my team, um, all the years that people did not know about Anarchy initially, and they knew Apollon Nutrition, they knew that Assassin is an Apollon Nutrition product. Um, so we decided, because obviously Apollon Nutrition is our main brand, we decided that we're gonna have it under Apollon Nutrition. We're gonna release it under Apollon Nutrition, so it's gonna be more mainstream, but it's still gonna be extremely strong, like Assassin is known for. So everything we did for this Assassin, what I can say is it was always a strong pre-workout, very strong pre-workout. This time around, it's going to be as strong. So I'm not going to cheat anyone. It's still the diehard followers and fans of Assassin. They're going to be happy. I assure you that. Um, it was known to be extremely strong. It was known to taste like shit. It tasted absolutely horrible. One of the worst tasting pre workouts ever. So I wanted to make some changes because it's under Apollon Nutrition, and then our marketing guy basically said that it's one of the most searched products when it comes to Apollon Nutrition, and hasn't been around for almost 2 years now. So under Apollon Nutrition, it's gonna taste. Trust me, it's gonna surprise a lot of people how good it's gonna taste. No, it's not going to taste like C4. It's not going to taste delicious. But when you compare it to previous assassins, you're going to think that this cannot be assassin because it's a huge. It's not even an improvement. It tastes good. Pump. Assassin was always weak on pump. I think the most we've ever done was 4 to 6 grams of citrulline, and that's it. This time around, this is going to be a strong pump pre-workout. So Assassin's going to carry a pump. And if you saw, I posted 2 reviews from people, they were surprised by the pump. They didn't know the formula, but they were surprised. It's going to be a little bit more euphoric. It's definitely going to have more focused ingredients for sure. Um, it's going to be way more loaded. I think the previous one was 15 or 16 grams per serving. This one's going to be way over 30. So
Wow.
you can only imagine that this is going to be out there. The graphics, this is where it's very interesting. I was never big on labels, but this time around we have a friend who is not just a graphic designer, but he's an award winner animation artist who is absolutely phenomenal. His work was displayed in New York City, on exhibitions and stuff. And he became a very good friend. So we talked to him and we asked him if he would mind doing some graphics and animation, like, you know, certain brands do. Uh, this is going to shock everybody. The graphics on Assassin is absolutely next level. It's something. In fact, Isaac, just so you can talk about it, I will show you next week so you can see it.
All
So
right.
you'll be able to tell people I finally saw it. But if you tell what it is, I'll kill you.
You will assassinate me.
Yeah. So everything about this assassin is very, very good. But yeah, there is no DMHA. Some people ask me, is the DMHA? No, there is no DMHA here. But I assure you, you will feel this product. You will feel how strong it is, but you will feel way more focus and you will feel way more pump than ever. Plus improved taste. The graphics, like I said, the label is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm extremely proud of this product. And like I said, you know that I never bullshitted you in my life. I always tell you like it is. And next week you'll be able to confirm what I just said.
I'm already looking forward to it. I'm already marking the date on my calendar. So we got one more question here. This is from my buddy Timmy, who I've done reviews with. He lives here in Brooklyn with me. Well, not with me, but here in Brooklyn, and we are good friends. So he asked specifically, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the proteins because he purchases a lot from NutraBio. He's a huge fan of NutraBio, and I think they are one of the only few that are kosher certified. I don't know if Timmy keeps kosher fully or not, but that's not the point. So I know that when you released the Isoblast, that limited edition Hanukkah flavor, that one was kosher.
Yes.
Is there plans to make any other proteins kosher, or is it just like an extra expense that's not worth paying for?
So it's actually a very good question because this has been bothering me for quite some time now. The prices of, I mean, the advantage that NutraBio has is, of course, the fact that Mark Glazer is also Jewish, but they also have an advantage that they manufacture themselves, so they definitely get to save a few dollars for sure. For us to have it kosher certified, we have to pay for it, and with the current prices of especially everything that has to do with isolate, it's extremely expensive. Nevertheless, I'm monitoring the prices of protein very carefully right now, and as soon as it drops, which I hope it will, I assure you that I'm going to look into it because this is something that's very important to me as well. Well, number one, you know how I am a very proud Jew, but on the other hand, my wife Marina, she owns a pharmacy in Brooklyn, and she would like to display some of the proteins, and her pharmacy is in a very orthodox area.
Sure.
Most of her customers are Jewish, and she would like to sell proteins over there, but unfortunately, because they're not kosher, she's unable to do it. The Hanukkah one she did, and it was very successful. So I'm definitely working on it. I'm definitely going to try my best to have our protein kosher, hopefully soon. But that's something that I really want.
That's really awesome. That's really cool. And just so you know, I still have like 2 servings of that Hanukkah donut because I just love the smell of it. I remember when I first popped that thing open, it literally smelled like a deep fried raspberry donut. I don't know how you do it, man. I really don't know how you do it, but it's incredible. So we have a couple of questions here from the Instagram page. I made a post a little over 24 hours ago. So not a lot of questions, just 6 or 7 here. We're going
Okay.
to go over these questions quickly. Then we're just going to plug everything, promote the upcoming event. So we're going to start with our friend Harry once again. What is the thought process you go through when picking ingredients for a supplement? That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Well, it depends, of course, on the product. If it's a health product, then it's basically, I talked to Marina and I talked to Robert Shinetsky, who is a good friend of mine, and he's probably the best in the industry when it comes to supplement ingredients. Lucas Rutkowski, he's a certified geek, and he will pitch sometimes an ingredient that I'll look into it. Um, Definitely Justin Hall, supplement snoop. He's very, very, very knowledgeable. So those are the people that I go to when it comes to discussing different ingredients. But in general, yeah, it comes down to what kind of a product we're working on. When it comes to hooligan, assassin, fat burners, that's pretty much all me because I know those ingredients, and the ingredient companies already they're sending me different literature and studies and whatnot. So I look into them. I will ask for samples. We'll test them out if it's something that you can feel. I have great relationship with Ron Kramer, the owner of Nitrates. So he's able to guide me if needed. And so it's fairly easy process. And especially when I reformulate something, which is an existing product, I try to go about 10-20% because I would still like to keep the core of the product the same since people already like it. So it's not that hard. It's just the same thing as, I don't know, you making a steak. You already know that you use, I don't know, salt and pepper, and you might experiment a little bit with garlic or something else, but it's still going to remain exactly the same.
Yeah. All right, that's a good answer. Thank you for that. We have our buddy Eurosubs Reviews from Instagram, good friend of the show. Has Apollon/Anarchy ever released a supplement that Robin considers to be a miss? That's a good question too.
Yeah, 100%. Vegan. Vegan was a
Mm,
huge miss. I think I made a mistake on that. I miscalculated our market, so that was definitely something that I not necessarily regret. I mean, it's still sold. It wasn't a failure, but it just wasn't a success by my standards. So I'm definitely kind of upset about that. And then bare knuckle when we did, I think version 3 or 4. I've made a big mistake, and I know that I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this. Although I mentioned it before, I think the stupidest thing that you can do in pre-workout or a pump formula is to use glycerol. I think that's just the dumbest
mm,
idea because glycerol, and that's something that I learned from Robert Chinetsky, for it to be really truly effective, you need probably around 15-20 grams of it. That's why when they sell it in a liquid form, it's phenomenal and it gives tremendous pump. So it's great. But you cannot use the same amount in a pre workout. It will fucking be rock hard. It will clump the shit out of the product. So brands are using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grams, which is not enough. It's just not enough to give the same results as you would get from Vasodrive or nitrosamine or citrulline or nitrates. It's not even close. And I just named 4 or 5 ingredients that are very, very good for pump, phenomenal for pump. But the main reason why people are using glycerol because it's cheap. It's just
hmm
very, very cheap. But I've used it in bare knuckle 3 or 4 where I used 4 or 5 grams, which is on a upper side, which is still not enough. And what it did was it destroyed the product. It was people would open it, use it a couple of times, and it would get rock hard because of the moisture that would get into it. And it just, I don't think that it's good. So I deeply regret using that in a powder form. I think that was a huge miss on my part, and I learned my lesson the hard way.
I have a very mixed relationship when it comes to glycerol because being that I'm a bigger guy, I actually kind of like the puffy pump it gives you. But obviously, like you said, you got to take 15-20 grams to really feel it, which I do. I have a bunch of different
Oh
liquid
yeah, no, I
glycerols.
like the ingredient. I love the ingredient. I think the ingredient is tremendous, and it gives you the pump, and it gives you that swell look. It's phenomenal. I just don't think it should be used in a powder form, and especially not with 2, 3, 4, 5 grams. which will still probably clump the shit out of the product. So that's the only thing where I don't think where it belongs, and you can do way better. You can make way better choices. But overall, yeah, it's a great ingredient. But like I said, I learned the hard way not to do it.
What do you think about these new pre-workouts? There's like two or three brands that they released a liquid glycerol-based pre-workout where there's like some caffeine in there, some thermogenics and whatnot. Obviously not at clinical dosages because you can't really do it because of the product you're working with. But what do you think about that? Does that sound like something Apollon might consider in the
Oh
future?
yeah,
Or
I actually considered it last year. I wanted to do it. I think our schedule of releases was like so jam packed that I didn't like fully commit to it. But I think yeah, they good. I mean, some of them I saw that they pretty solid products. I don't remember by who, but as soon as I see, I think what are they called? Gorilla Mind. I think they have 20 or 30 grams per serving of glycerol, which will give you a phenomenal pump. I think that what it's called. Inspired, I think they have a pretty good product because they have also some nitrates in it. So that's a good product. As soon as I see 15, 20 grams of nitrate of glycerol combined with something like nitrates, the one that I did not like, and I will never accept that, is Evogen. Evogen has a glycerol product, which the glycerol content is nice, but as soon as I saw S7 in it, to me it was out. That's like something that no,
that's
absolutely not.
I thought that was the best pump ingredient, Robik. S7.
Yeah, that's no. But yeah, no, glycerol is good, like I said, and just not in the powder pre-workout. That I don't think it has its place in it. So I think when I see it in there, I think they just use it for you know window dressing.
That makes a lot of sense. So let me see what else we got over here. We got a few more, but I'm going to skip a couple because we're actually already going for an hour and 10 minutes. It's crazy. I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like I'm
no
just,
problem. I mean, you can ask me anything. For you, I have time.
I appreciate that so much. You really are a true friend. So we have a question from Killing Strangers. Where's that DMHA hitter that you've been teasing? DMHA.
So DMHA product is definitely something, you and I talked about it, behind the scenes, but I can say it. The problem with DMHA, it's not, well, it's not legal, but it's not really illegal either. It's kind of like one of those gray area ingredients. So I am definitely open to it, especially on the Anarchy Labs, more than open to release it. Probably as a limited release, but I'm definitely open to it. The only issue with it is considering that you cannot get it from a regular supplier, the ones that are proven suppliers. So, I know High Tech gets a good DMHA for obvious reasons, but in terms of getting a good source, I got a DMHA that, we tested it, it was just wasn't good. So number one is to get a good DMHA source, and number two is obviously not every manufacturer is willing to do it just because it's a gray area product. And I would not do my product with anyone but my current manufacturers. I have four right now that I'm working with, and all of them are legit. Two of them agreed to do it, so at least we have a manufacturer that's willing to do it for us. And I think that it will still happen. I do have a feeling that we're still going to release that on the Anarchy. It's just, have to deal with a couple of issues, mostly supply chain, and that's it.
All right, sounds good. This is an interesting question here. I actually haven't even seen it till right now. Of all the Apollon and Anarchy products, which one is the most controversial? I don't know how a product will be controversial, but
So I can see it. I mean, the one
maybe
that gets
high.
the most heat, I would say the most hated product was surprisingly Hooligan.
Really?
Initially, Hooligan, oh my God. I remember Fitness Informant, Price Plow. They went crazy. Initially when it was released the first year or two, they were going crazy against Hooligan. I mean, maybe they actually made it more popular just because of the caffeine content, 600 milligrams. So I remember they pissed me off so much that when I released 450, they pissed me off that I increased it to 600. When they pissed me off even more, I actually released, I think, Hooligan version 3 was 720 milligram caffeine.
Wow.
You know, so, and then Robert Janetsky found some studies that confirmed, that it's actually, for athletic performance, you can go as high as 900 milligram, and they pretty much all shut up. And now you see people releasing 5 and 600 milligram of caffeine nonstop, and nobody says anything. It just Hooligan won everybody's heart because people realize that it's not just a caffeine or a product that slaps, but because it's such a well-rounded product that has everything in it. So it went from the most controversial to the, probably like a flagship product of a product of Apollon. So it's actually ironic how that happened. But I would say, yeah, Hooligan, ironically, was the most hated controversial product.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But like you said, with Hooligan, especially the latest version, it is so well rounded. It's such a balanced product. You get like that good mood elevation despite there not being any illicits in there. You almost feel like a little head buzz from it, but just good, clean energy, focus, pumps are next level. And it's an incredible experience. And I like the fact also that it is a true 40-20. Everybody throws that damn
Yes.
40-20 marketing gimmick on every pre-workout in this day and age, but let's be realistic. 99% of these pre-workouts you will not take at one scoop, so it's really just 20 servings. It pisses me off when companies write 40-20, but nobody would take it at one scoop or half a dose or
And
whatever.
we pretty much, I will take a pride in it. We pretty much the one who revolutionized the whole thing. That's the reason why, of course, it's a lot more to make our products. But Hooligan, Time Cop, the upcoming Assassin, all of them are true 20-40. Like you can take 40 and you're not gonna, because right now we don't do anything less than 6,400 milligram of beta alanine in any product. That's it, 64. And in any of the hard hitting products, because I know that on a half a scoop on a 40, you're going to get 3,200. So you're happy. We don't do less than 5 grams of betaine anymore. So you're legitimately getting 40 servings or 30 servings or 20 servings. It's up to you.
Mhm.
But you actually saving money, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. And the final question we have here from Jim Red, this one's funny. Ask him if he's seen TJ lately. What the hell happened to TJ?
Good question. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for it. Sometimes I'll send him a text message and it will take him 2 weeks to answer it. He sends me always something with Jewish holidays. He told me that he's going to start doing reviews again, but I don't see really reviews from him. So I consider TJ a friend. He's the one who helped launch Apollon Nutrition, to be honest with you, and Anarchy Labs. So I owe him a lot. But in terms of the last year or two, I can't speak for him. Obviously, a lot of things happened, that can affect Jewish people in a way. I know he's going back and forth to Israel and United States. I know he lives here in New Jersey, not far from us. He did visit us on our anniversary. He came here. We still consider him. We'll always consider him a dear friend. But I don't know what's going on. He pretty much stopped doing reviews. To be honest with you, I don't know why. I wish I had the answer. I did ask him if he's going to come to the seminar. He said he will. I know that Carolina just sent him a bunch of T-shirts and hoodies he has for his sons. So as far as I know, everything is okay. Maybe it's something personal. Maybe he just does something different in terms of his career, his business. I mean, he was always doing this as a part-time hobby, passion, because TJ's highly educated, very successful man. So, he has other businesses. So, but in terms of like why he stopped doing reviews or not doing as many as he used to, I wish I had an answer, but I don't, honestly.
I appreciate that. And yeah, TJ is probably one of the coolest, most down to earth people I met. I did meet him at that 10-year anniversary event. I actually went out to eat with him and his son. So we got to hang out for a couple of hours. And to me, it was a really surreal moment because I was watching his old school reviews from like 5, 6 years back. And here I am hanging out with him and having meal with him, So really cool guy. Shouts out to TJ, the OG godfather of pre-workout reviews. But you touched upon, and we're going to end it off here. You touched upon the seminar. You said he might be there. Talk about the seminar. Tell us what it's all about. I know you've been putting a lot of work into it. So tell us about some of the guests that are going to be there, what it's all about, and where people can get their tickets.
So seminar is something that we started for exclusively for Apollon Nutrition athletes about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and ever since then, every year it evolved into something bigger and you know, pretty huge. And, now in the last 3, 4 years, we had bodybuilding superstars, Branch Warren, Dennis Wolf, Ronnie Coleman, um, a lot of MMA fighters, Muay Thai guys, strongman competitors. I mean, successful people in supplement industry. So it evolved into one of the biggest probably events in the tri-state area when it comes to events of this caliber. And this year it's going to be, the guest list is insane. We have Guy Cisternino, we have Akeem Williams, who's competing at the Olympia. So a week later he's going to be here. Kirill Hudayev, who is also going to be competing at the Olympia, and a week later he's going to be here. MMA superstar, PFL world champion, Corey Anderson, who's the only athlete who has been to each and every event we've ever had. So his career is pretty much in front of us. And legends of IFBB, Lee Priest, Sean Ray, and of course, seven-time Mr. Olympia, Phil. He's going to be here. From a supplement industry, you're going to be here. Justin Hall is going to make an appearance, and the guest on the panel is Shane Smith from Stacked. So this is going to be a stacked event for sure. And, definitely if you're in the area, you don't want to miss it. Tickets are available on apollongym.com, or you will be able to get them at the door. And, it's going to be a lot of fun on October 18th at Apollon Gym. A couple of hours just among friends, hanging out, autographs, photos, very laid back environment. Well, you've been to our 10-year anniversary. It's a cool atmosphere, but this one just has a different vibe to it.
I'm really excited. I'm excited to be seeing you in less than 2 weeks and seeing Carolina and everybody there. And once again, Robik, I really want to thank you for coming on and doing this interview. We're already going for like almost an hour and 20. It's freaking crazy to even think about. But when I'm talking to you, it literally feels like we're just shooting the shit between two friends, having a conversation. But really, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Really appreciate it. I appreciate and cherish our friendship. And I really do love you like a brother. So thank you, Robik, for everything you've done for me.
Appreciate it likewise, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on October 18th. Thank you for everybody who watched, listened, and we'll do it again.
Sounds good, my friend. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow the Instagram, follow Apollon Nutrition on Instagram. And once again, anything that we discussed today, apollonnutrition.com, discount code ACE15 to save 15%. Robik, take care, my friend. I'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, it should be ending.